Another city has fallen in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Kusema tutoke ile Bukavu itachukua muda, lakini pamoja na nyinyi inawezekana.
Il nous a rassuré qu'à partir de lundi, il y aura des changements.
About 3 weeks after Goma fell to the M23 rebels, the neighboring city of Bukavu saw a similar fate. The rebels entered the city as the army retreated westwards. But the fall wasn't how you would imagine. The rebels were met with cheering and smiling faces. Many chanted "Karibu," Swahili for "You are welcome."
Il nous a dit qu'il n'y aura pas de problème, que pour les gens qui ont faim ou pour les gens qui ont de l'argent dans la banque, il n'y aura pas de problème d'ici quelques jours. Ils nous diront comment.
So why is Bukavu celebrating its fall? Does this mean Kinshasa is next? And where is the African Union when you need it? Let's look at DRC in depth. The DRC is a large country that sits at the center of Africa. Over the weekend, Bukavu's main airport and city center was cut off from the government's access. This left a security vacuum in the city with multiple reports of looting and prison break. The UN World Food Programme says nearly 7,000 tons of food was looted from its warehouse.
What I think of Bukavu falling to the rebels only a couple of weeks after Goma has fallen is pretty simple. It simply means that Bukavu and Goma are two cities that are quite close to one another, and these two cities are separated by a lake, Lake Kivu. So this made it easier for the rebels that have already taken Goma to easily progress to Bukavu. And also bear in mind that Bukavu is also the border with Rwanda and also close to Burundi, which means backing of rebels from Rwanda, and it is believed that these rebels are being bankrolled by Rwanda.
But the M23 rebel leader is promising change.
Na mnajua Wakongomani depuis 1960 wanakuwa mwa hii ujinga sasa ni mingi sana. Nasema tutoke ile Bukavu itachukua muda, lakini pamoja na nyinyi inawezekana. Na watu wenye wanapenda desordre wanakuwa wa mingi sana. Na wenye wanapenda droitille wanakuwa wadogo.
The issue in the DRC is not that simple. Institution after institution is failing its own people. Its government, led by President Felix Tshisekedi, has been accused of systemic corruption and mismanagement. Failed military reforms have led to internal conflicts and widespread human rights violations. The country has been dogged by conflict for more than 30 years, since the 1994 Rwandan genocide. About 800,000 people, mostly from the Tutsi community, were slaughtered. The genocide ended, but the anger continues. And the anger gave birth to the M23 rebels. They say they needed to take up arms to protect the rights of their community. But time, money, and power have complicated the situation on the ground.
The rebel would want to do what they would want to do now is try and capture more cities still in eastern parts of the DRC. They might want to do two alternative routes. One would be to progress to the northeastern part of the DRC and capture a city known as Kisangani. So that is northeastern part of the DRC. They might also want to progress south, which would be southeastern part of the DRC, and reach the mineral-rich part of the country, which is also known as the Cobalt. Now, if the southern part of the country, which is very much rich in mineral, falls to the rebel, that simply means that the whole economic lung of the DRC will be in the hands of the M23, and that pretty much will be game over for Kinshasa, because there won't be any need to march to Kinshasa.
Rwanda continues to deny its involvement in the conflict, but there is mounting evidence to prove that it sits at the very center of it. It is reportedly providing weapons and training to the M23 rebels. The United Nations has claimed that there are Rwandan boots on DRC soil fighting against the army. Analysts argue that M23 serves as a vehicle for Rwanda to protect its interests in eastern Congo. But there's more than just security. The conflict in DRC sits on a soil that is rich enough to make the country the richest in the world. You name the mineral and DRC has it. The country produces 70% of the world's cobalt, which is crucial for EVs, copper for electrical wiring, gold and diamonds for jewelry, coltan for your mobile phones, and the list goes on and on. And most of these mining sites of DRC are concentrated in the east, and the M23 has seized many of them, including in Bukavu now. The city is a crucial minerals trading point. They've set up a barter system with Rwanda. Take the minerals, give us money and arms. But the deal has come at a cost. With every city that is falling in the hands of M23, the number of displaced people is growing. And with no respite in neighboring regions, they are crossing over to Rwanda.
Grande barrière, to tunavuka de l'autre côté, kuangalia si une fois tunaweza pata un peu de refuge kule, parce que pour le moment mu ville iko naona amani iko un peu déséquilibré.
To Rwanda's credit, it has set up humanitarian camps at the border. But the question is, till when? The conflict this year has already displaced close to 1 million people. This will not only put strain on its economy, but also bring the conflict inside Rwanda's borders.
We are providing the basic services. Those include the safety, medical assistance for those in need, food and nutrition, and also provision of basic materials for them to be fine here.
For a long time now, the African Union has been urged to take charge, since Kinshasa and Kigali are refusing to come to the talking table. And for its part, the AU has sounded alarm over a regional war. The group has deployed regional forces to eastern DRC. But this conflict is testimony that it needs more political solutions and lesser military deployment. The group met over the weekend and urged the M23 to disarm. But it has fallen on deaf ears, putting AU's legitimacy under question. M23 says its ultimate goal is to control the capital of Kinshasa, hence get access to the power corridors. Experts say this threat is far from reality, at least right now. But with cities falling like dominoes, a regional war is very real. DRC, Uganda, Burundi and Rwanda have already been dragged into the conflict. The question is, who's next?